All right, we are live. If you can hear me, please message or drop a comment to let me know that you can hear me. I guess I could turn on my audio briefly. There's a bit of a delay on the live session here, so okay, cool. I can hear myself. Perfect. So we have sound, we have visual. I like this mouse, by the way. If you ever get a chance to buy a mouse, this is the mouse to get. It's really smooth with it, especially if you have a Mac, you can program these buttons to do certain things. I learned a lot this last couple of weeks um, about Mac. Hey, what's up, Roman, what's up, man? Welcome. Hi, Ugly Words, welcome. Awesome, you get the notification. Great, I'm glad to hear that. All right, so we're gonna just chill, and I'm gonna talk to you all about journaling. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm not a guru. I'm not a specialist in this by any stretch of the imagination, but um, I do have some experience, with all this. And so, if I can answer your question, I will answer it, and if I don't have the answers, we'll figure it out together. My goal here is to get everybody to journal. If you have hands and you want to improve in some way, we I want you to be able to journal. So welcome. I'm gonna address you by your usernames, but if you want to and you're comfortable dropping out, dropping your real name or maybe like a nickname, something you want else to address you, just drop it. I'll try my best to remember it. Um, if not, I'll just continue to address you by your username, which is totally fine. So for those of you who are new to the channel, my name is Leo, short for Leonardo like da Vinci, who I've been obsessed with the last couple of weeks. And it all started with a tiny little pocket journal, which I don't have with me right now. It's in the room because I'm wearing pajama pants still. Don't judge me. And Serenity, awesome. Um, and Robin, awesome. Okay. Um, we are, yeah, it all started with this little pocket journal that I made for my utility for my cargo pants. You know how they have that little side pocket? And so I made a really long, do I have an extra one? I don't think I do. It might be in here actually. Yeah, it's gonna be in here. Um, oops, let me make sure my address isn't on here. Woo! Sometimes I do things without thinking. Yeah, so it started with a journal that looks much like this, and I tried to write like Leonardo da Vinci did, and I really liked it. I actually really liked it so much that it changed my entire journaling style and method just around that. So, Roman and Serenity, welcome. And so then, I think about 2 weeks ago, we created this on the live, and I just wanted to show you all how it's looking. Okay, it's been in my pockets, it's been everywhere with me, and it's taken a beat to see where some of the graphic coming off because it's been rubbing of my pants and my jacket and all that. Some of the edges started to tear, so I reinforced it with some gaffer's tape here. This one, but it's tearing through the gaffer's tape, so these edges aren't as strong as I would like them to be, but it's working. It's doing its job in at least protecting this from getting damaged. These from getting damaged. It's doing an excellent job, and we're gonna go over what I'm filling these up with because as you can see, I'm on book 5 of my journals. Here are book 1, book 2, book 3, and book 4, and they're all different in their own unique way. This one I think was only 6 pages or something like that. And you'll notice I'm not even caring about whether or not I'm showing you something personal. That's okay. Um, we're all family here. Um, and you're probably more family than my real family because my real family doesn't even look at my stuff. But as you'll see, I started out with writing. in this fashion, and now my latest ones, you'll see. Hang on, I really got to make sure that I don't show you something I'm not comfortable showing you. Um, and now it's turned into, journaling in this way, practicing some lettering, some letters. Just really love letters. So I've been practicing my calligraphy again, which is so much fun. I love calligraphy and sketching. So it's evolved, but that first initial journal that I did in the style of Leonardo da Vinci really inspired me to start drawing in my journals. And I was leaving room so when I come back and reread these, if I want to make a note about something, like if I read about an issue that I was dealing with, and if I solved it, I can inform myself and say, "Hey, by the way, we solved this by doing XYZ, and everything turned out okay." And now in the future, when I have the same issue or when I'm having another issue, I look back at my journals and I noticed what issue I had, how I solved it, and it might give me insight on how to solve a different type of issue um, based on the same method. I don't know if you can hear the rain. I'm in California and it's raining. It's like pouring, so you'll hear water drops in the back. Um, I love this style of sketching because I had some ideas and I just jotted them down. I said, "Hey, I want to change and I want to move buying my own notebooks, which I don't have anything against. I don't have anything against buying them. I encourage you all to buy them if you can. For me, there was nothing wrong with this. Absolutely nothing wrong with this. I just wanted to try something new. I wanted to try something real. We got Erica in the house, and let me put on my headphones so I can hear myself talking, so I know where I'm talking to. Oh, you can hear the rain. You could really hear the rain, can't you? Wait, oh, there's something happening here. What's going on with my audio? Just 1 second, please. Okay, I'm gonna take that earbud out. But so again, there's nothing wrong with this style. I love this. I encourage everyone to go and buy it. I personally wanted to try something different. I really wanted to try something new. I wanted to try and figure and see what it's like to be in a time where you could go to a Michael's or a Hobby Lobby and just buy a notebook. What did they do? They had to go buy paper, of course, right? Unless making their own paper, which is my next step, by the way. But I made my own notebooks. I made my own notebooks, and I thought I had an idea. I said, okay, I'm going to create something to hold my notebooks in, sort of in the um, traveler's notebook style, right? And so we created this, right? And actually, I created a different one, but then I wanted to show you all how easy it is to just make your own out of recycled material, and so we did that. And back, much like field notes, which I'm not a user of field notes. This is my first field notebook ever. Um, I like that they have this ruler in the back where you can just measure things out in the field. But because I work with creative stuff, I'm crafting, I'm doing printing, and all kinds of stuff. It's more helpful for me to have a crafter's ruler, so something that tells me what the center of something is. So the way that this works is, if I want to know where the center of this is, I place it here, and then all I need to do is make sure that I have the measurement on this side and this side on the same spot. So that is give or take right here, and this tells me that this is the center of this right here, right? For this side, I just place it here, and I notice that I'm in this line. So I'm 1 3/4 of the way and 1 3/4 of the way, which tells me that this is the exact center point of this notebook. So this comes in really handy when I'm doing different projects at work. Um, it's come in handy a lot. Um, you're hearing this? Are you still hearing? Hang on. Is that better? hear it on my ear. I'm hearing one in my ear. One second. Actually, let me unplug. There it is. Better? Oh, you hear it? Okay. I think that took care of it. Did that take care of it? Because I don't hear it in my earbud anymore. I have a. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. It's because I have another cord that I plug into my iPad so that I can hear music through the mixer. And because it's not plugged into the iPad, it was just on the floor. It was buzzing. So I apologize for that. So again, the goal was to create my own notebook, but not stop there. I wanted to, and I sketched it here. The idea is to take all these journals, and I think this is going to be my last one of the set, and to compile them in the order that they were created, two, three, four, and five, and compile them like this, and remove the staples, all of them, and then punch holes into them and sew these together and make my own book. So this is going to be a notebook on its own, and then I'll create a cover for it so that I can date it and say and see that I dated it or I created this from October 12th all the way to November, whatever it's going to be that I finish with five. I was originally going to take these off, but I'm going to leave them because I was experimenting with some heat pressing stuff, and I took the time to choose this for around Halloween time. So uh, I'm just going to leave these. I'm going to leave these all together. I was experimenting with heat pressing an image onto the journals, and so some materials worked, others didn't, and so I want to just make sure that I'm I'm keeping track of what worked and what didn't work. You'll see in my interstitial journal in the back here, I actually made a note that I pressed this and what temperature I pressed it at, seconds, etc. So that's the goal. The goal here is that the goal is this. I'm just going to continue making these and sew them together, and then eventually just compile these notebooks. Um, and then just have a glimpse from time to time, and they'll be in exact order. Instead of having to carry this book with me everywhere I go and documenting like I used to, I'm just carrying one at a time here in the pocket, journaling just like I would here, and at the end, I'm going to compile this. Now, my goal, so that I can have that full experience, is going to be. I'll show you. I'm already I'm already collecting it. Is to collect paper, and then eventually I'm going to cut these into smaller pieces, blend them, and make my own paper. I'm not trying to be a paper company or anything like that. I'm just trying to see what it's like. I just want to know, hey, what would it be like if I didn't have access to a store that I could buy these in, and I had to make my own paper. So I'm going to make my own paper, make my own a few notebooks just for me. And at the end, I know that my reward is going to be that I'm going to look back and be like, nice, I made this from scratch. Paper, it's made by me, and I got to write in it. I got to document all this stuff, and that's what it is. So, for those of you who are interested, let's take a look and see what sort of things I filled my notebook with, and then I'll show you my interstitial journal as well. Um, let's start with the interstitial journal, actually, because some people were asking on Discord um, about what to write. What do you do? How do you write? What do you do when you draw a blank and you don't know what to write about? If you don't know what to write about, if you're new to journaling and you're not exactly sure what to write, there are tons of videos for you to watch and for you to see how other people are journaling, what sort of things they're filling up their journals with, and that's great. Um, I would say if you want to take that route, do it, but do not put pen to paper until you watched all the different styles, because you don't wanna watch one style and be like, "Oh, okay, cool, that's what it is," and then you start that style, and then you end up quitting, and you think, "Oh, journaling is not good, it's not for me because I tried it." But what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at all the different styles that there are, and then I want you to do what Bruce Lee would have done, and that's I want you to take the best or what you like, what is useful to you from each journaling style, and I want you to discard anything that is not useful to you. So if you're a type of person that you're looking for productivity, a junk journal is not going to do it for you. If you are a person who is, who doesn't want to slow down and write your thoughts, your emotions, and that, then that type of journaling is not for you. There's a journaling style for you. If there isn't, you can make your own. Of course, you can. Anything is possible with this. Like everything that you can think of, you can do with this. It doesn't have to be that one specific thing. And so I would start there. Watch, a few videos with different styles, and then you decide which style works best for you. And then the second thing that you could do is do this. I would highly recommend this because this gave me a great idea of what is important to me and what is worth documenting and what is not worth documenting. And that is documenting everything. It sounds overwhelming, and it can be if you allow it to. But I want you to hear me out, and I want you to just just hear me out. Hear me out on this, okay? Don't jump to a conclusion. I'm being as honest as I possibly can with you. It can be overwhelming, but just because it can be does not mean that it has to be. Watch this, okay? So this is my interstitial journal. Interstitial, just a fancy word, which means between moments, between tasks. I guess you could think about it that way. And basically what it is you take a journal and you write a time and maybe a place if you want to document that, but you want to talk about what you just did and maybe what's next, what you got going on next. So, for example, my first one, this is interstitial book one, IJBK1. That's how I'm cataloging things. I put 2:07, stayed up late. So this is 2:07 a.m. And I'll talk to you about that in just a minute. Stayed up late working on a voiceover. 2:10. I created this notebook for interstitial journaling. So I documented that I made this. Okay. The format that I want is a day and date. So month and date in bigger, bolder text. And this is just thinking about how I'm going to create this. So I'm going to put the date and the day of the week and the date in bigger, bolder text so that I can, when I'm looking through this, I know where I am in the week. Monday the 20th. This is still a part of Sunday. That means that this is part of Saturday still. We're Saturday. Okay, etc. And then I'm using military time for the remainder of the day. The reason is because you see I put 2:07. I don't know if it's AM or and instead of taking the time to write AM or PM like that, I just look at my watch. It's 15:07, so I know it's 3:05, and I can show you a way that you can memorize the time. It's pretty easy. It's not hard at all. Um, so if it's 2, that means it's in the morning. It's way in the middle of the night. Okay. 2:33 went to bed. Why? Why did I document that? I'll tell you. 8:55 woke up. Easy was my alarm. So my son was my alarm. And I write my objective. My objective is to post a YouTube short, make $120 in DoorDash, and make 6 notebooks. That was my goal for the day. This year is 10:23, obviously AM. Had a conversation with Erica about a dream that she had, discussed different responses and reactions to the scenario. 10:29, gonna get dressed and have breakfast. 11:08, ate 2 chicken tacos for breakfast. Uh, and then here I have a meeting with Jason Amaton at 3 p.m. Out doing DoorDash, waiting for another order. 13:57, took a small break to eat lunch. I had enough points for a mini sub from Jersey Mike's. And then you might wonder, what's the point to all this? Why are you documenting when you got up, what you ate, what conversations you and all that stuff, and it might seem like it's a lot, it's too much, and it can be, like I said, if you're going too much into too much detail, it can be too much, but the reason is I wanna be able to look back and say, "Okay, maybe I didn't have to write about what I ate for breakfast. That's not a big deal." Or maybe I didn't need to document that I had points for a Subway, like, I mean, a sub from Jersey Mike's, like, maybe I didn't need to document that, but I'm not gonna know what is important to me and what's not important to me until I actually document every single day, every single time I do something, and the other benefit that this little booklet has is that it stops me from going on my phone and scrolling for, an hour or 2. I still do that, but I only do that as a reward to myself, having done the things that I need to get done, and whenever I catch myself wasting time in that way, I stop and I go, "Wait a minute, what's next?" And I go back and I look at the last entry and I say, "Oh, yeah, I did this. I still need a video, so I can go record a video." I loved this so much. It was such a huge it took it has a huge benefit in my mental clarity that I decided I'm sticking with this. I'm gonna interstitial journal for the rest of my life, I'm sure. I haven't stopped since that first day of the 15th, which actually it's been a month, exactly a month today. Right? Yeah, exactly a month today. I have not stopped every single day. Every now, do I have to write every single day? No, I do not. But I do it because I noticed the benefit around the week 1 and a half. I noticed a huge benefit. I noticed that the things that were in my head were no longer just roaming in my head. I had it here. So if it's important, I put it here, and it doesn't have to be in there, and now I have room for other things. I have room to think clearly. I feel lighter. I feel more calmer. I feel relaxed. I still have things that are stressing me out, but at least this is helping lighten that load just a little. And that's why I recommend interstitial journaling, also known as captain's log. Um, and that's the idea, right? So then after a while, I loved it so much that I thought to myself, wait a minute, I need to find a way of shortening this. I can make this quicker because if I'm in the middle of something and I need to get to something and if I want to document it, I need a way to do it fast, right? So 12:28, getting an oil change, 85, needed cabin filter, getting jack in the box, crowd control to press job. So I'm on my way to go and press some jobs. Got home, loaded the car, going to CBX to drop off my mom and my aunt at the airport. So I was going to go to drive down to San Diego to drop them off. And then I wrote what time I got home. Why do I write what time I went to bed and what time I got up? Because if I'm feeling groggy that morning, if I'm feeling like unfocused, if I'm feeling like grumpy or like my head hurts, whatever, I don't have to wonder what it might be. I just look here and I say, what has my sleep schedule been like? What have I been eating? Did I log that I drank water? I haven't been logging that I drank water or not. I need to, and this gives me a good idea. What if I forget to write my hours at work? Well, all I need to do is say, "Here, what time did I get to work? Oh, I got to work at this time. I left work at that time. I had lunch at this time," and now I have a good idea of what my day was like, um, you know, based on what I documented. DoorDash. Uh, I went. Let's see. What is this? DoorDash. What is a circle with C? Went to Walmart. Oh, completed. Completed. So I finished at 8 o'clock, and I picked up pizza and pumpkins and went to Corona so that we could paint some pumpkins. And here they are, painted pumpkins. I took a picture of it because I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with it in just a little bit. Um, and then I know what day that was. That was on Saturday the 18th. You see? Right? And I document, what I do, all kinds of stuff. And then the idea that I had to shorten this was to create some symbols, and I created a few symbols to document very quickly what I did and what's next. So this is recorded. If I have a dash, it means it's something that I already did. So recorded a video and a short, edited the short, and exported it to my phone. Exported video to PR, that's, Premiere, Adobe Premiere. Going to, that's something going to, edit in Corona, and then going to DoorDash now. DoorDash, so I'm at DoorDash. I stopped door dashing. I think that's canceled door dashing at Corona and DoorDash over there? Oh, DoorDash, I already door dashed, and I'm going to Corona and DoorDash over there. I'm hungry. Tacos? Question mark? Maybe burrito? Might might notice there's a pattern here. I love tacos, and, that's pretty much what I eat all the time, mostly. By choice, by the way. Important things that I need to do, like calling my brother to feed our dog and, buy pumpkins, things like that. Um, I write it in a different color so that I know that that's a task of something that needs to be done, not something that I did, and that just stands out. It helps it stand out a little bit, okay? And then I just kept writing more and more, so as you can see, I went from writing, sentences like this, phrases, full-on phrases in the beginning. See that? See all that? All that? To this, just writing abbreviated stuff. And I know what it means. No one else needs to know what it means, right? So here I am, obviously at work because this is the same pressing where I'm pressing, shirts with a heat press. So here is I arrived at 4:05 at work. I'm sorry, not 14:05. 14:05. So that's 2 o'clock, 2:05 at work. I unloaded the truck, and now I'm going to press vest. Here I press vest, and I'm going to box everything up to ship it. And now I'm leaving work, and I'm going to pick up meds for my mom. My mom asked if I can go pick some meds up. And then I documented when I arrived at Kaiser and I picked up the meds, that other stuff. So it just makes everything quicker. And now I know if my mom says, "When did you pick up the meds?" Boom, there it is. I picked it up at Kaiser at 5:36 on Monday the 20th. See how that works? It's a really great way of just keeping track of when you did certain things, and and any projects that you need to get done. So I loved it so much that I continued it. Obviously, here I am, book two, more same stuff. And now I'm drawing things. Like the garage kind of busted, and one of the wheels came off the rail. So I documented it uh, this is 6:38. I fixed the garage door. One of the wheels would come out of the rail, and I thought it was the rail, but it was the whole door shifting to the left. I pushed the door to the right and I fixed it. So now I know how I fixed it in case I don't know, I forget if I'm busy or if I can't think about it quickly. Like I already know. Of course, I'm gonna have to remember that what date it was, but I also did a sketch, so I know that I'm gonna find it easy. I'm still writing bigger phrases here, but if I'm doing that, it's because I really do need to. It's important. It's just that I'm logging for myself. So there's that. I'm on book 3 in my interstitial journaling, and I've added some. What do you call these? Grid paper at the beginning, so that I can document things like my water intake, which I know I need to drink more water. And I'm wanting to practice my lettering. So in the last couple of days, I've been practicing some lettering, just because I really enjoy it, and I want to be able to just make my I don't know, my journal will stand out a tiny little bit to me. So when I flip through, I already know Tuesday, I know the date, I mean the time. So here is where I slow down. This is where I really slow down and talk about things that are really important to me. This is quick. Yes, I ate that. I went here. Now this is the next step. Here is where I slow down and really figure things out. Here, Monday, the 10th at 7:44 p.m. By the way, is my first log. I think, or actually, no, I might have had a morning log on the other side because I finished the other last. But it was a long day, and I didn't have lunch. We put up a Cisco veterans wall, and the staff was incredibly grateful. A beautiful wall. I left this space here because I'm gonna print the picture and glue it here. I learned a lot about being confident. Sorry, I learned a lot about confidence from Jason today, He's so confident in everything he does. We messed up the wall. We actually put one of the panels too far off to the right, and we had already put it on the wall. And I was like, man, what are we gonna do? We're gonna have to reprint it. He's like, no, 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 we're not reprinting anything. We're gonna hit it with the heat gun, and we're gonna remove it. We did. We removed the whole thing and then just shifted it over. It was literally like about an inch. We shifted it over an inch, and then we stuck it back on the wall, and everything was fine. But like he was just so calm and so cool, and I just thought about documenting that because it really hit me that like you don't need to freak out about things when something is. It's not the end of the world. You don't need to take drastic measures. Sometimes all you need to do is say no, do this, and just get it done. Here, one thing that is keeping me focused and in line is the idea by Leonardo da Vinci. This idea that in order to be good or to master something, you must start at the beginning, the fundamentals. Do not skip this. Do not move forward until the fundamentals are done without thinking. So until you do something and it becomes second nature, then move on to the next thing. He points out that to get to the highest floor of a building, you don't just go from the floor to the middle and then to the top. You start at the bottom and you stop and you step on the first step and then the second step and so on. So it's about learning to be a beginner and learning to just start from scratch. So that's the first note that I made when I started, my sketching letters, and that's to not be lazy and try to skip over a letter, to practice it over and over again until you get it, and then eventually you break the code. You're like, oh, I get what the lettering is doing. The C, the D, the E, the G, they all have that same curve, and you start noticing little patterns, and then you start getting better at it. This was when did I start this? Saturday. Well, I had the space, so I wrote. Oh, actually, yeah, I practiced this first, and then that A was terrible, and that B was terrible. So then the next day, I'm like, okay, I need to practice, 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 practice. And before you know it, I broke the code, and I saw that the D is just a C with a stem. Boom, put that together. Now I got it. D, great D. And that first D was terrible. Yeah, and that's how you get things done. Um, and then what else? Look, some real honesty here. Okay, midnight, 39, 39 minutes of Saturday. I said, you know what? I don't know what the f I'm doing these days. I mean, I do, but it's challenging to see how much of it is moving us forward and how much of it is a waste of time. Maybe that thought is the echo of my naysayers, my life's haters, my dream killers. So I got to be careful. I got to be mindful of what voices are my voices and which ones are just echoes of people who are just they don't believe that I can do the things that I set out to do. And I'm going to go out and just do it. Here, I am grateful to have flexibility and motion. I've been a little bit tense lately in my hips and my shoulders, but regardless of how I feel, I'm still going to give thanks because I do have flexibility and motion. There are some people out there that do not have that. So I'm going to be grateful for what I do have. I got to sleep in a little bit, but I did go to sleep after 2:30 in the morning. So I should not I should not make that a habit. It's raining today, and it's supposed to rain all week practically. And then I just sketched this little tower that I saw in a painting that we have in our living room. So just to give you an idea, if you're sitting there and you open up your notebook and you're drawing a blank, what do I write about? I don't know what to write about that. Hey, I'm journaling here and I don't know what to write about. And ask yourself, why? Why don't I know what to write about? Do I not have anything to fill my pages with? Is my life not do anything at all? Or does it have to be interesting? Do I have to do something extraordinary in order for me to write something down? Or can I write just the average thing that I did today? And then hopefully that will excite me enough to say tomorrow I'm going to fill my day up with something exciting so that I can write something exciting on my maybe that comes first, and then you start writing. Like I don't know, I don't want to draw a blank when I write. How am I feeling physically right now? Well, physically, I'm not doing well. My shoulders burn, and that could be because of my poor posture. And about that, hey, you know what? Lately, I've been feeling down on myself. Why do I feel down on myself? What am I expecting? What am I looking forward to? Okay, what do I feel? I feel like my life is going nowhere. I feel like I don't have anything to offer the world. Okay, well, is that true, or is it just a feeling? And you say, oh, it's just a feeling because I do. I know how to cook. I know how to bake. I know how to draw. I know how to play guitar. I do this. I do that. I actually help my community do this. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, wait a minute. My own mind is working against me. My own mind is a liar. It wants me to not believe in myself because it likes to be in its little comfort zone, playing video games, watching TV, scrolling through the internet, all of that. It wants to keep me there because it's safe. It wants to have that excuse that the world is against me. No, I can fill my day with something important, and I could go out there and do something. I actually am already doing something important, something of value, and I'm taking care of my family, or I'm taking care of my children, family that depends on me, or people, my community depend on me, things like that. Maybe you don't want to write about that. Maybe you just want to ask yourself a deeper question, like, I don't know, like, hey, there's something about my past that I need to let go of. Is there someone that I need to forgive? Is there something about my past that's affecting me and keeping me unhappy in this present moment? Or maybe not the past, maybe it's the future. Am I worried too much about the future? Do I really need to overthink and overanalyze, separate my body from my mind? Extra points if you know what that's from. Um, you can ask those types of questions and write them down, figure it out. You know, I have these little moments in my life where I don't know where I'm going. Why do I not know where I'm going? Do I need to know what the next step is, or can I just take that next step in faith? I'm gonna take that next step in faith. You know what? I've always wanted to draw. F it. I'm gonna pick up a thing, and you know what? I'm gonna draw. I'm gonna draw right now. I'm gonna draw. But what do I draw? What do you mean? Draw? What do you mean? Well, and I'm just gonna grab whatever. Um, and I see something in front of me. I'm just gonna, whatever, just draw some lines. Draw what I see. I'm seeing this. It might not be accurate. It doesn't have to be. It just has to be. I just have to exercise that muscle, that little muscle that of seeing, that visual muscle. I'm just exercising that muscle, and it doesn't have to be exact. I just have to exercise that muscle. That's it. 'Cause you know what? Right now, it may look like this, but if I keep exercising that muscle, what's gonna happen? It's gonna strengthen. It has to strengthen. There's no way in hell that you're just gonna be shooting ball, shooting the ball and not make one basket. That's impossible. You mean to tell me draw every single day and not improve at all? And Imma tell you the secret, okay? You gotta pay attention 'cause what I'm doing is enough, but it's also not enough if you wanna be better. If you wanna get better, it's not enough. You have to also be say, "Okay, I don't like how this came out. What can I do? What can I do better? How can I be better tomorrow than I was today? How can I draw this better?" And that's just draw it again. Okay, well, this side is too big and this side is too small. Okay, cool. Let's draw it all over again and let's get the angle right. Oh, I noticed that the angle is off. Okay, that's why it looked all goofy because it's off. The angle's off. Okay, I'm going this way and make sure that I have the same distance between here and here. The angle is right there. Okay, I'm gonna draw this. Just see how I did this different this time. First first I drew the box and then I gave it form afterwards. I'm just an amateur at sketching here. I'm not a professional. My name is Leonardo, but I'm definitely no Da Vinci. I'm definitely not a Da Vinci here. I'm just sketching here. Just put this together, and then boom, there it is. Now, if you notice, this angle is different here. It's corrected. Now it's a little bit better. And then guess what? If I draw it again and pay attention, what did I do wrong? How can I improve it? The next one's going to be better. And that's all you could do. Hey, you know what? I don't know, I'm gonna draw my name in stupid block letters. There. Okay. That looked childish and immature. Immature in the sense that, like, I don't I'm not a mature sketch or letters, right? But if I take my time, maybe I can do a little bit better. And then if I really took my time, probably give it a better form. There. And if I wanted to, I can give it some dimension. Okay, right there. I don't know what I'm doing. I forgot how to do this. Haven't done this in a while. But I can give this some dimension. If I really practice this, I can really create something, really, really beautiful, right? Or I can take a pen and I might not know what I'm doing, but I know that if I take a chisel pen and I angle it, or maybe I don't know anything about this. Maybe I don't know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to lettering, but this pencil, what can this marker do? Okay. If I write my name just normal, okay, I notice that it's skinny here on this side. Okay, but what if I turn it, right? Now I notice that the thin part shifted down here. Okay, cool. What kind of angles can I get? You know, that's how nobody take the person sorry, take the person who you admire, who you're like, man, they're a really good artist. I wish I was that good. Anyone, literally anyone. You could take someone like Leonardo da Vinci. It's not just genius, he practiced. He taught himself how to see something and just he said, let your mind be a mirror and just sketch what you see. Sketch what you see. But anyway, I digress. Take anyone, literally anyone who's really good at something, who you really admire, who you would love to have their skill, and I'm gonna tell you something about them. They were at one point in the same level that you are in right now. So if they can do it, you can do it. The only the only distance is time. That's the only difference is time and attention, of course, but still time. They put in the freaking work. We were talking about Erica and I were talking about Michael Jackson the other day. He was one Michael Jackson when he was a kid, and then he disappeared, and he comes back, and he's the Prince of Pop, right? And he did some amazing things that no other artist had ever done. So amazing that like people were fainting in his concerts. Right? What's the difference between that Michael and the previous Michael? Right? Of course, we're there's a layer there that we leave out where his father treated him a specific way. But the point is that he disappeared for a moment. He practiced privately and he benefited it from when he practiced privately. He benefited public. There's a saying I just remembered. It says something like people will reward you publicly for what you practice in private. Practice, 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 practice. Anyone you see, any artist that I notice like really great at calligraphy or whatever it is, they were this at one point. Just put in the work every single day, practice the same letters. And actually, in my youth, I used to have a lot of friends who did graffiti. Not me. My friends did graffiti, and I noticed that's all they would do. They had a notebook and just all day, just writing, 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 switching the R's, switching the L's, switching the T's, switching boom, boom. How else can I write all these by the same name, just differently, right? So like Leo, bam, and then bam, bam, and then that's one way. And then other times it would be like this, and it's like the E would be this, and then, you know, but they would change it. They would over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And that's how they got to making these beautiful colored pieces on a wall. Illegal, don't do that. But it's practice, practice, practice every single day. Just practice. And if you're going to want to have a journaling practice that you can be proud of, that you can say every single day I journal and I help myself. I'm just giving myself a hand. helping my future self with problems that I'm solving today. I'm leaving notes for my future self. And I'm leaving notes for my children so that when they look through this, they'll see how their dad solved his issues and how his dad thought and saw different things. And maybe I'm helping them too. They'll say, "Oh, okay." And then when they grow up, they're like, "Oh, I remember my dad's journal. He was dealing with the same thing I'm dealing with now. He solved it by doing X, Y, Z." And and it's all because you documented it. So I want to end here with by encouraging you to please pick up a pen, journal, just write. But write what, Leo? I don't know what to write about. Draw something, sketch something. What's on your mind right now? What's on your mind right now? Right? I'm trying to create a unique style of journaling that best fits me. That was what I was thinking when I started this. This was cool, and I love this style. Beautiful. See that? See the style? I wanted to find something new that fit me better. So I wrote about that. I created a traveler's notebook and slipped this one in, yada. And then I ate pizza and I tried to sketch the pizza. And then I had an idea for how I was going to tie the book together. My previous one that I had, and I did. I found a way of strapping the, the book shut, right? I figured it out, but if I hadn't drawn it, I probably wouldn't have executed. The fact that I already had an idea of it and I sketched it, brought that idea to life, helped me out drastically. I documented the weather. Ezekiel is being super sensitive today. Right, my son is going to speech therapy, and I'm also documenting little moments where I'm really proud of him because he said something new, or you know, showing positive improvements. Here I am documenting something about humans. I realized today that life, humans battle psychologically between our shared reality and actuality. Shared reality is the way things should be. Actuality is the way that things actually are. We're always rejecting what is in favor of the way that we want things to be or how we think things should be. And that's the root of our unhappiness. We're constantly rejecting what life gives us because we think it should give us something else. And then we're missing out on the true gift, on the gift here. Things, stupid things humans do. I'm anxious and excited to work with Jason. I think I can see it as an opportunity to learn outside of business. If I'm going to have business, I need to learn QuickBooks, shipping, and all that other stuff. There are some sketches. I kept seeing 444 all day that day. The word aphorism came up, and I kind of more or less knew what the word was, but I decided I was going to document what it meant. So it's a short, punchy little saying that carries a wisdom or general truth, which in Spanish we call that a dicho. So it's un dicho. Um, and here are my sketches of how I was creating those short notes, those symbols. Right? Here's where I changed the elastic. Instead of wrapping it on the outside and inside, I sketched it first on how it was going to look, so that it's only wrapping on the inside. It's not exposed on the outside. We built it. We built it here. That, right? That's book one. Book two. I'm not even sure showing you stuff I don't want to show you, but I created shorthand symbols, more shorthand symbols. Spend some time on shorthand because I want to continue my interstitial journaling, and I need symbols to write faster. Interstitial journal is a great way to stay on task. It also is a great way to find out what you prefer to write about. I noticed that after I noticed I'm wasting time, I ask what's next, and I turn to do something. This way, I have something to write about. Today marks 8 years since my grandmother's death. I miss her so much. She was actually a funny lady. She loved sewing and wrestling. Yes, wrestling. Well, she loved watching lucha libre, not wrestling herself, but she loved watching it. And then Aaron Draplin, who, by the way, is one of the co-founders. He's the founders of Field Notes. He said something in one of his videos that I thought was really funny. With all due offense, so he really did actually mean to offend someone. With all due offense, and here's some interstitial journaling codes that I wanted to figure out. painted pumpkins tonight. It was fun. Left a space so that I can do that. So let's do that for now, and then we'll finish off by that. So one thing you could do is take a piece of paper and take all these little moments that you have in your life and take a picture of it, and then stack them up and print it, and then come back and fill the space. Fill the spaces. Leave space in your journal so that you can, and it doesn't have to be neat. Okay, it absolutely does not have to be neat. Like I'm not even cutting on the actual drawing. I'm cutting outside of it. So just to show you, it doesn't have to be. You could take your time and make it neat, but I want you to see this as a relaxing thing. And if it relaxes you to take your time, really cut on that line, do it. But if you don't care, if you don't want to make it messy, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna have to trim it because I made it right to the size actually. So I'm gonna cut it just a tiny little bit more, and I'm gonna show you it's a crooked line so that you can care. I'm not asking you not to care. I'm telling you, don't care too much that it ruins it for you, that it's not fun. For example, today I got a comment on one of my videos. It was a person who was pretty irate and they were mad and they questioned my credibility. They questioned my credibility. They said, "I trust you. How can we trust anything you say when you can't even spell Leonardo's name?" I misspelled Leonardo da Vinci. I was typing too fast. Okay, it's not an excuse, but it is what it is. I was typing too fast, and I misspelled his name. And and I said to him, "I'm sorry, man. It's much worse than that. It's a lot worse than that. Not only did I misspell Leonardo da Vinci's name, but I have misspelled my own. You see, my name is also Leo, and I've typed my name hundreds of thousands of times, probably, maybe even millions, a million times. Sometimes my fingers hand is faster with that A than my right hand is with that N. So it's a common mistake of mine. I uh, I misspell my name in that exact same way, actually. So hey, I'm human. I'm gonna make mistakes, and you know what? You could take it serious if you don't want to watch my. I didn't say all this, but if he doesn't want to watch my videos because I misspelled, that's perfectly fine. If he wants to take it to that extreme, but the video is valuable. It has valuable information. And besides, it's not a school essay. It's not a school report. You don't. The point is to journal, like you did. I'm not trying to make a documentary on Leonardo's life. But anyway, here it is. You see, this is what's cool about this is that instead of just saying, "Hey, I painted pumpkins tonight. It was a lot of fun, and I forgot the white paint, but we still did a great job painting it." So it's black and white. That was an innocent mistake. Speaking of mistakes, I forgot the white paint. I picked up all the paint, red, blue, black, except white. I realized we probably needed white, but we made do. We still painted some pretty awesome pumpkins. And not only do I write about it, but now I have a visual. So when Ezekiel grows up and he sees what we painted together, he's like, "Oh, cool." I might take a pen and say, "This is Ezekiel's. Oh, let's do that now." Okay, I'm gonna take a red pen and I'm gonna put Luna, Dad, Mom, and Easy. And there you go. Now, when my kids get older and they look back, they'll be like, "Oh, cool! Look what I did." They're like, "Oh man, look at that terrible job my dad did." Things like that. And I have one for our Halloween costumes because Luna, Ezekiel dressed up as Leonardo, the, the Ninja Turtle, for his therapy session. We took out Erica's grandma for lunch. Here he is wearing my fedora. Here are my two kids, well, wearing their costumes because Luna had a trunk or treat for her school, and so she dressed up as Wednesday, and I pressed the press Pugsley. I got a little picture of them. This one I printed because Erica designed this with AI. It's a picture of my dad holding my son, which this actually never happened, unfortunately. My mom made a delicious pozole the other day, and so I took a picture of it and I wrote about it. So I want to add that picture. And then we all dressed up as the Adams family. This was supposed to be a serious picture, but my son decided he was going to smile because he loves, I guess, he in Pugsley fashion loves that knife that he was holding. It's a fake knife, by the way. And so he was smiling. He was all smiles. It's funny because we every time that we try to take a picture, he never smiles. Try to get him to smile, he never does. I mean, it was a serious picture. He was the exact opposite. So I don't know. Um, and all I need to do now is find here. Just to give you another example here, the goal I set earlier is that I want to make my own paper, right? So my journaling is evolving into something beautiful, like Leonardo da Vinci. I want my curiosity for life to lead me, and I want it to transform me through observation, note taking, and detailed consideration. And here I am. I sketched me cutting the paper and putting it into a bowl. I have a blender here, right? And I am going to create my own paper here. I put so blend it, and then I have to make my own. I forgot what this thing is called, but I have to make it, and then result in paper. So if you're wondering what should I write about, just write whatever's on your mind. Here I went to Ars Burgers for the first time. I drew this. I sketched the terrible sketch. It doesn't have to be, but then like also I threw in a few to do lists here. As you can see, it's in blue. So take pieces of cardstock to work and test the DTF press. Will it take? I don't know. Will it take? And in some things it did take, and others it did not. Figure out the cost of DTF paper, DTF print per notebook, so that I can see, whether or not it's going to be worth it. Here I am testing some new pens that I had gotten and seeing whether or not it was going to be the route I was going to take. I used it to sketch this to give myself an idea of how I'm going to use those colors. So this will be my important color for a to-do or to stand out. Whenever I want something to stand out, it's that red. It's this one here. The orange will be my medium priority. My blue, just creating that, that. So that's book two. Book three is there it is, right here. Same, same. We actually designed this, made it. Here's a self-portrait, terrible self-portrait. Here's a picture of one of Ezekiel's little couches that converts into a bed thing. I was waiting for DoorDash and I sketched the rear view mirror with trees. Here's a lyric from this Blink and you miss it. Keep one of your eyes open at all times. Things have been challenging lately. I'm grateful that things are looking up now. Uh, Here it is. Erica and I was at the store and I bought a one of the old fashioned popcorns that you heat up. So I bought it and we did that night. And then Sunday and messing with letters here, as you can see, not plan the next 5 years, design them, design your next 5 years. More just the brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, just practicing my writing, my regular letters, swapping certain letters that I needed to practice. Conversations with myself, um, things that have been challenging. I broke down a song, beautiful song. Here, I'll do this. One of my favorite songs to perform when I play is a song by Julio Jaramillo. It's a song about heartbreak, pain, and the song is called La Deuda, which means the debt. The song is, in my opinion, meant to be sung slow and with intention. The singer is hurting because his lover betrayed him. You calmly mocked my passion, it says. But then he confidently predicts her fate, saying, I know you'll suffer because you made my heart suffer. It's a debt that you have to pay, like we all pay the debts of love. He is consoling himself and reassuring himself that life will make her pay. Then he says something that tells us he will be okay. Uh, and that he accepts his pain and accepts the lesson. He says, and it right in red what's in Spanish and in English what's in English. I mean, I'm sorry, in black what's in English. It says, "No voy a llorar," so I'm not going to cry, porque la vida es la escuela del dolor, because life is a school of pain, donde se aprende también a soportar, where you learn to endure las penas de una cruel desilusión, the sorrows of a cruel disillusion. And I love that word, disillusion. You have an illusion of something and then disillusion. In other words, I loved, I lost, and I live with it. So just breaking little lyrics down like that, that help. I had a terrible dream, recurring dreams, writing about some dreams. Grateful for getting through another challenging day. I woke up early, went to work, came home, took care of a few things, drove about 1.5 hours to San Diego and an hour and a half back, and I still had good energy. I'm tired now, so I'm kind of just documenting again what state am I in right now. If you document everything intelligently, I'll be able to tell if I'm not feeling well. I can look back and see everything that surrounds me, and I'll say, "I've been eating well. I haven't been sleeping. I've been, negative. I've been this. I've been that." Yeah, it was a crazy morning. It was a crazy busy day. I worked in the morning. I rushed home to pick up Erica, Ezekiel, my aunt. We took my aunt home to Maywood, an hour and a half drive. We then went to pick up Luna at school. We were cutting it close and in time. So like just documenting like, wow, it was a crazy day. And then documenting how I felt about the day, etc. Oh, new phrases that Ezekiel says. Because again, he's a little bit behind in his speech, but Easy has been growing in speech so much in the last few days. He's copying new sounds, really putting forth the effort to communicate. So he says Sissy, he says Ali, his cousin, Tia, Tio, Ba, so ball, bird, and he does a sign for bird. He says Gappa, so grandpa, bye. He says he's seeing a lot of stuff. And it's really exciting. Sketching, stuff that I see, experiences that I'm feeling. The other day I thought about cutting my own hair and I just went for it. I went and I cut the back of my hair and learned something new about M&M's. It's from Mars and Murders, the partners who created them. Just little things like that, little gifts to myself. Friday, what I'm grateful for. I was waiting for Erica to pick up something from Starbucks, so I sketched the building, more sketches, letters, 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 and so there's that. What else? And then there's this beauty here. This book. I really recommend this book. Let's see. Good evening, everybody. I'm not sure how much longer you'll be in the live, but I think I'll stop at least for a little bit. Hey, welcome. Where's my mouse? Oh, there it is. Welcome. Yeah, we'll be here just for a tiny little bit longer, but you can always rewatch if you're interested. Um, yeah, so this book, I've been learning a lot about Leonardo da Vinci in the last couple of days and a couple of weeks actually, and I just this guy's mind is just so awesome. And I'm making notes of little things that the book mentions about him and things that he did, things that he said, writing. I got this film that I use at work whenever I'm pressing something. This is just a sheet that transfers over the image to whatever it is that I'm pressing. So I saved a bunch of these, and I just wanted to see if it's possible to sketch over. Not to cheat or anything like that, but just to give myself an idea what it was like for him to sketch something, and really just get into his mind and see what it would have been like for him to sketch. And I'm just making notes of things. He was just so brilliant, and I love this particular part of the chapter because he's talking about when you're gonna draw a battle, whenever you're sketching or you're gonna paint a battle, what do you think the most important thing about the battle is? It should be right? Like maybe like someone jamming someone with a blade or how like draw the action part of it, right? But no, what he talks about first, before he talks about anything regarding the warriors themselves, he um he talks about the dust. He says when you're painting something like a battle, the dust should be up in the air like this, right? Like this, for example, says first you must represent the smoke of artillery mingling in the air with the dust and tossed up by the movement of the horses and the combatants. And this mixture you must express thus: the dust, being a thing of earth, has weight, and although from its finest it is easily tossed up and mingles with the air, and it nevertheless readily falls again. So he's catching these little things like what the dust is doing. The horses are stomping on it, or the smoke and which direction it moves, and to pay attention to the wind because the wind is going to move the smoke in a specific way. I don't remember seeing this, but I imagine that this is like the wind is going to move the the smoke in a certain way, which means that the horse's hair is going to be in the same direction, the dust in the same direction. It's just really, I think Leonardo da Vinci would have been a great cinematographer alive today. He's the type of person that you want paying really close attention to what the actors are doing so that there's no inconsistencies in a film. Because there's nothing worse than Eric and I catch these all the time. When I go, oh, look, he had his hand in his pocket in this shot, and then look, bam, he's scratching his eyebrow. And we catch little inconsistencies like that. And I think Leonardo would not have missed a single thing. Those movies that you're like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense because he jumped over, and in order for him to jump over, he needed to at least run this. You know what I'm saying? Like you get really detailed with these things, and I think Leonardo would have been a great person to catch those little subtleties. And then after he talks about the the hair and the dust and all that, then he talks about um, a warrior being on the ground, covering his face from the horror with blood on the ground and the spears and like but before that you have to also learn how to draw arrows flying in every direction. Drawing, sketching what the horses are doing, and how they're moving. You know, here is like if you're drawing tempest, a hurricane or something. What the wind is doing, what the trees are doing. If there's a person there, how he's positioned. Kinds of if there's water, how it's going to flood. Little things like positioning of the hand, all these little salties, all these beautiful little creases, just beautiful little things like that. He is a poor disciple who does not excel his master. Mm, delicious, little delicious phrases. So just little things like that. Sketching anatomy, the Vitruvian Man. It's been really fun learning about Leonardo da Vinci. It's just so beautiful that there are things we don't know about him because obviously people are reporting things like whenever they make a documentary, they're covering his paintings, they're covering his notebooks, degrees, inventions, his engineering, his the things that he created that couldn't have existed in his time but exist now, a helicopter and a parachute and all kinds of stuff in flight. But what they miss out on is his mind, how he thought, how he saw things, and also even though we were reading about it, there are some things that are still between the lines that you have to read between, things that he's not saying. He is saying them, but he's not saying them deliberately, and you have to kind of pay close attention. Then, if you can gain insight into that, I think anything you do, anything at all, whether it's painting, science, you blend all these beautiful things together. You're thinking differently. You're seeing things differently. You're solving problems differently. That's that's beautiful work. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you all with that. I covered a lot here in this one live, um, but the main message volunteers to please pick up a pen, start start journaling. If you don't want to journal like that, I'll leave you with this field notes. This is a collection of beautiful words, lyrics, and stuff like that. If I come across a word, I write the definition down. I was watching a documentary on Edgar Allan Poe, and he said, "In speaking of my mother, you have touched a string to which my heart fully responds." Oh, that's so beautiful. Instead of saying, "Hey, man, when you talk about my mom, it really hits home," or, "You know what? That's one thing that I just love talking about." No, in speaking of my mother, you have touched, not pulled a string, you've touched a string to which my heart fully responds. How beautiful is that? How beautiful is that? Erica and I were watching Frankenstein, by the way. Oh, beautiful film by Guillermo del Toro. Um, the phrases there too. Instead of saying something like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had a fever, but I'm better now." He says, "The fever gripped me and it has now passed." Doesn't that give you a different insight into what the fever is? John Dewey, a philosopher, said, "We do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on experience." So to experience something is not enough. It's not enough for you to learn your lesson. You don't wanna just like, "Oh, I touched the flame and it burned me. I'm gonna learn that lesson." No, write about it and then you reflect on it. Why? Why did it burn me? You know? This maybe that might be a poor example, but the point is you write about it, you go back, you reflect, and then you really learn, fully learn from that experience. Experiencing it is not enough. Revisiting. If you want an easy life, do what's hard. If you want a hard life, do what is easy. That's Les Brown. Life isn't a competition. There is no scoreboard. Life is an exercise. That's a vowel from YouTube. Nota. It's a Latin word that means mark or a sign. To make a note. Metacognition, thinking about our thinking. I was looking into researching into what makes us different as humans, like what separates us from animals, and part of it is that we think about our own thinking. Think we can think our way through things instead of just being reactive. I'm gonna take some time to cut these out and put them in their right place in my journals. But first, I'm gonna go have lunch. I'm hungry. I'm really hungry, and I need to feed myself. Well, I need to be fed, but I can also feed myself. That's totally fine. I'm just very fortunate enough to have someone who takes and feeds me really well and really good food, by the way. Um, all right, familia. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. Um, Go out there, pick up a pen, pick up a notebook or paper, and just journal, just write. Help yourself, help your future self. Your future self will be grateful that you did. They'll say, "Thank you. I'm so glad you documented that because that's a really beautiful memory." And we don't know. We don't know if our memory is going to be gone tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but in the future. We want to look back, recall certain things, or if maybe certain family members who misunderstood us, who see us as a villain or see us as someone hard to love or hard to understand. Maybe when we're gone, they'll look back at our journals and gain a little bit of insight and say, "Oh, wow, they were dealing with a lot, and I totally misread them." I mean, maybe, right? So, all right. Well, I always say goodbye the long route. I always take the long way to say goodbye. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you on the next one. Okay.